Hello friends, Heidi here from Rain Country. God is good all the time. And I'm here for another 5 ways to save. And today's video is going to be about craft items. So I'm going to be focusing specifically on things more for sewing and crocheting / knitting. But if you have any other ideas that you would like to share, please put those in comments down below. And it can be related to any type of crafting items, even what I'm already talking about. And if you would like to see the full playlist on 5 ways to save that I've been adding quite a few videos to, I'll link to the full playlist in the description box down below. So make sure to click on more or show more anywhere down here below the video screen, depending on what device you're using. It should be down there somewhere. So number 1, this is one I have not talked about in any previous videos before, so I want to mention it first. And that is, you see this Hobbs that I crocheted years ago. It's actually the only stuffed thing that I have on hand. Even though I've made a lot of stuffed characters, they've all been for gifts. This is the one thing I made for myself because I love Calvin and Hobbs is very cool. But at any rate, I am using this method to help save money, and that is old pillows. So several years back when I first got into crocheting all these little guys and selling them, I had taken all of our old pillows that were just either too flat or too lumpy because they went through because I tried washing them and they just never were the same after that, and cut them open and took all the batting out of them. And of course, after washing them, the batting's all nice and clean again. I had to go run and get it because I forgot to bring it in. But anyway, here's a piece. You can see it's got a little green in there because it was inside of a couch pillow I had made that had green fabric on it. And so I got it all washed up and took all the batting out of it, and that's what I'm using right now. So some of it is still kind of matted down, especially the stuff that was closest to the fabric. Anyway, you just simply pull it apart like this, and you can just fluff it back up again, and then you can use that to stuff either new pillows or your creations like this if you're making any kind of stuffed toys. And that doesn't have to be crocheted things either. It can be things that you're sewing or any type of stuffed thing that you're making. So just recycle that batting from your old pillows and just fluff it back up. You just got to pull it out like this. You could do the same thing with quilt batting too, but obviously that's made just a little bit differently than the loose batting. So anyway, that's the one thing I've been using. Now, I've bought batting before for such things. I've been able to save a lot of money on batting just by simply cleaning up some old pillows we don't use anymore, taking them apart and pulling the batting out. And then one thing I've mentioned in quite a few videos when I'm talking about making skirts and so on, is recycling fabric. So some really ideal things can be curtains, especially if they're more of a lightweight curtain, not a heavy drape, scarves, tablecloths, and sheets. You can do a lot of big projects with those because they're usually in bigger pieces. Of course, you can also recycle old jeans, old flannel shirts, old t-shirts, and make new clothing out of those as well. And I've done this with jeans and flannel shirts in particular for making purses and quilts especially. And my favorite thing to do with the old flannels and jeans is making the quilts. But for the fabrics like these, they're really great for using in making like the patchwork skirt, which I have a whole series out because I have the original video, which was more simplified, and then I added to it and showed better ways to do it as I perfected my technique. All this you see here, these top 3, these are all sheets that I got at garage sales, and just wash them up, and then I can use them to make whatever I want. I can make gift bags out of them. In fact, this particular fabric here, I have a video where I showed using, it was actually the pillowcase that went to this set of sheets that I got at a garage sale, and I made a gift bag out of it. And I think I've used this in making a skirt that I sold, some of this one here. And then down here is some lace. You can use lace tablecloths. If you're using it to make a skirt, you would do it in 2 layers. Like I've done this before where I made a skirt where I had some lace in it, and I simply put a solid piece behind the lace. So each one of the squares that had the lace actually had 2 pieces of fabric, but just recycling old lace tablecloths and curtains. And then I have a skirt that, one of my favorite skirts I like to wear in the spring, patchwork skirts that I made, is made entirely out of all garage sale find fabrics. I'll put a picture here. Some of the fabric in there is from curtains. Some are from a couple of different sets of sheets. One of the fabrics is from a scarf I found at a garage sale. And then in the old original video where I was showing how to make a patchwork skirt, and in that one I was just doing a 3-tier, I was using a tablecloth I found at a garage sale in there with those fabrics. And then this fabric right here, and if any of you watch Off Grid with Doug and Stacy, you might actually recognize this fabric because was actually a sheet I had bought on sale. It's 100% cotton and brand new. So you can even get brand new sheets and save a lot of money if you really like the print or color than going down and buying the fabric by the yard. Using sheets, even new ones, is a much cheaper way to get fabric. And so this particular fabric I used in one of the many skirts that I've made for Stacy. And this is in the one where she's got like shades of brown and black and gray, and then this print fabric in there too. And then she has another one that's made very similar with the same print, but in shades of blues. So I made those both for her at the same time. And so, yes, you can use brand new sheets and still save a lot of money. So number 3 is getting some of your notions from old clothes. So when instead of throwing out your old button-down shirts and so on, save those buttons. You can use the fabric, as I mentioned before, in other projects, but you can also cut off all those buttons and save them for use in other projects. As long as the elastic isn't too stretched out and too wore out, you can recycle elastic. A lot of times when I'm getting the sheets, especially brand new sheets, and I'm getting them just for fabric, when I cut up the fitted sheet, if it's a real nice elastic they have in there, I'll pull all that elastic out and save it. And then I use that in other projects where I need an elastic of that size. And right here is a perfect example. This elastic is in great condition. I think this was from a new sheet, but I've even found really good elastic on old sheets that I purchased at garage sales. And then I figured I might as well cover a little bit on like paper projects. So a lot of people like to make cards or just various types of things related to paper. Like for cards, some people will take some kind of card that they were given that had a real nice picture on the front. They'll just take that off and use that to make a whole new card by gluing it to some cardstock paper and then creating a whole new card out of it. Last but not least, and this should be an obvious one, when it comes to just about anything, and I've already mentioned it actually, you could find all kinds of great deals secondhand. So for example, this yarn right here, I've been using this one, so that's why it looks half gone, because I was using it to make the dress for my granddaughter's doll that I'm making her. But this was found I bought a big box of yarn from a garage sale. I can't remember what I paid for it, but it was a screaming deal because it was a whole tote full of yarn. And all these ones were mostly all greens, which I use a lot of greens, but all shades of green. And there was this one skein in there that you could tell it was never used. Never a bit of yarn taken out of it. And I've never seen this particular color of green. It's called spruce. So you can see it's kind of a bluish green, and it was perfect for what I needed. But at any rate, I've used a lot of that yarn from that. And then I've also found other yarns and other garage sales. Usually I'll just buy whatever they have because I know I'll always find a use for it. And then just like I said with the sheets, but you can also find yards of fabric where people will buy fabric and then never do anything with it. And then they decide I'm never going to do anything with this, so they turn around and sell it. In fact, the one of the denim quilts that I've made, usually I'll make a mix. There's some flannel in it, a red and black flannel. It's a rag style quilt. That was fabric it was by the yard fabric that people had never used. And I also used it to make one of the purses that I use. And I have found lots of great fabrics by the yard. I also made myself a beautiful skirt I just love and a couple of aprons using some fabric by the yard I found at another garage sale, the black with the prints. I'll show you a couple of pictures here. and it saves so much money. I paid so little. Like I know one time I think I paid 75 cents for a box of fabrics that had, 1 to 3 yards a piece on these fabrics. It was super cheap. You just can't get fabric any cheaper than that unless it's given to you. And that will apply to anything else. That could be notions as well. You could find bobbin holders for your sewing machine. You can find sewing machines, sewing scissors, pins, all kinds of great items, especially if you're looking at estate sales. When my mom passed away, I was able, and we were cleaning out her place, I did come home with a lot of her sewing notions because she did like to sew. And I also came home with her electric sewing machine. I keep forgetting I have it, but it's like I do actually have a backup electric sewing machine. It's a FAF. And it's there if I ever need it, but I still like my treadle machine better than anything. But anyway, I have all these things now, buttons and all kinds of great stuff that she had. So estate sales are really a great place to find all that kind of stuff because there's not as many people that sew and crochet and knit for themselves as there once was. So when these people pass on and they have all this stuff, a lot of times people just want to get rid of it. So make sure you're watching for those things. And some places to look if you don't have I know some people live in places where garage sales, yard sales, rummage sales aren't as common, but if you have a Facebook account or other such account, a lot of times you can find groups and pages that are specific to your area where people are just trying to get rid of secondhand things. Sometimes they're selling it, sometimes they're just giving it away for free. I've done that actually, cleaning out some mugs and different things I had. I just put them up on Facebook Market for free, and the first person that said, I want it, they came over and picked it up and I gave it to them. Same thing happened in reverse. Somebody who was getting rid of a bunch of great jars. They just wanted them gone. I was the first one to nab them. I met her at the store parking lot and I came home with a bunch of jars. So there's a lot of great ways that you can get your hands on stuff that it might actually be brand new, even if you're finding it secondhand. It's just that it was bought maybe years prior and then never used. So always check places like that. You can get great deals. All right, well, that's it for this video. Again, please share your comments down below and don't forget to go check those comments down below because I'm sure you'll get a lot more great ideas from other people that share here because that's what this is all about, which is one reason why I only pick 5 points so I can leave the floor open for a lot more great ideas. And also don't forget to check out that full series I'll be linking to down below as well. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Take care and God bless.